Our next session will address what is potentially the most serious health issue in America, obesity and our lack of physical activity. Dare I ask for a show of hands of how many people made New Year's resolutions regarding weight loss and fitness this year? I actually did, and I've learned my lesson. In all seriousness, though, being a couch potato is dangerous business. Obesity continues to be troubling and worsening trend. Let me give you some sobering numbers from the Centers for Disease Control and the American Cancer Society. About 1/3 of US adults are obese. In 2010, not one state in America had an obesity rate of less than 20%. We heard that the other day as well. About 570,000 Americans die each year of cancer, and about 1/3 of those deaths are linked to poor diet, physical inactivity, and carrying too much weight. To me, it's staggering. So clearly something's wrong out there. Are people not getting the message to eat right and be active, or are there other factors? And what can we do to attack these trends through digital health technologies? Well, let's get some help on these questions from our speakers. Our moderator is a person who's gotten a whole lot of people off the couch and into new, fit, healthy lives, Sally Edwards. Sally served in Vietnam during the war as an American Red Cross volunteer. Returning home in 1972, she taught school for 3 years before founding Fleet Feet Sports, a retail sports store, and that is a tongue twister, retail sports store in Sacramento, California. It's near me. She launched HeartZones USA, an education and training company in the health, sports, and fitness space. Sally was inducted into the Triathlon Hall of Fame in 1999, recently founding Zoning Fitness, a new cardio program, and upbeat workouts, an iPhone app for runners. Today, at the age of 64, really? Wow, that's impressive. She lives an active, healthy living lifestyle in Sacramento, California, as a professional athlete, businesswoman, author, keynote speaker with a passion and plan to get America fit. It's all yours.
Good job, Jill. Thank you. So I'm not going to make you all stand up and exercise, but I'd like to. And if you have the urge, it's all right. We accept that. And so I'm very excited about our panel. We are, in my opinion, in the perfect storm situation in America and in developing countries, with high healthcare costs, with behavior modifications and lack of information and knowledge. But our topic today is really about, how are we going to use tools and devices and things that we have to get fit? How can we get fit? And I want to give you, just to get started, 3 different important points. The first one is called the 60-minute rule. And if you want to write this down, this one is really important. The American College of Sports Medicine has done the extensive research and says that we have to move in moderate activity. Yellow zone is moderate if you do blue, yellow, red. That's not easy, it's not hard. 60 minutes a day, most days of the week. Okay, so at least 5 days of the week, we need 60. That's not going on. It is hard to get people to move, but it's not impossible. We can do this. The second is about I'm an exercise physiologist, we call exercise adherence. How do we get people to stay on the program? And how do we use our wonderful tools, and I put some of them out here on the table, to really engage people as well as entertain them, as well as educate them to stay? And the third is a rule I call the 10-80-10 rule. 10% of the people are a little bit like me and maybe our panelists. We love to work out. It's the best part of my day. I don't even have to think about it. It's intrinsic. It's inside me. It's who I am. I'm an athlete. That's what I want everyone to be. An athlete is just somebody who moves and has fun. About 80% of the people, and here is one of the ultimate questions, 80% of the people know it's good for them. We know the movement's good for us. Why don't we do it? If we know that certain behaviors are good for us, why are we still doing unhealthy behaviors? So I'm going to start first by introducing the panel. And I have the clicker that's going to, OK. So this is our title. And our panel, we're going to talk about motivation. And we're going to talk about how we can stay fit. And that's the format. So I want to start out with introducing Jef. You ready, Jef?
I'm ready.
So you read what's on the slide, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jef. So Jef loves to work out, and he shared with me that since he came to work 9 months ago,
That's right.
About 9 months ago for a basis, he's lost 15 pounds. So I said, Jef, did you lose it by, yeah, it's hard to lose 15 pounds.
That's awesome.
Tell me about it.
Was it stress? Because we can gain weight and lose weight with stress. How was it? And so Jef is passionate, and he really likes gaming and video games, and so that's a little bit about Jef, and you can read.
That's not how you lose weight, by the way.
No, how did you do it, Jef?
Well, my hobby, if you like, is Warrior Dash. So for those of you who don't know what Warrior Dash is, it's sort of a 5K meets an obstacle course. So you're running and you're crawling through mud and you're jumping over fire, and it makes that activity a lot more fun and interesting than just the run itself.
Okay. Mike, who's right here at the end, is Mr. Bluetooth. And I asked him, did you invent it? And he said, no, but I'm the pioneer. And he loves golf, and he has a big boat. So I asked him, is it the kind of boat you paddle, or is it the kind of boat that you... It's a big boat, so we're not paddling that big boat, huh?
You put the paddle boats inside the big one, so when you get up there, you paddle. And you're up at the islands.
And he loves golf.
Yep.
He's an avid golfer.
Yeah, there's not enough time to play as much as I'd like. I have 2 girls that take up a lot of my time, but I still get out once in a while, and with my job I travel a lot, so I have the opportunity to play a lot of different courses around the world, which is fun also.
Oh, cool. Cool. And he lives in Redmond, Washington, and used to work for Microsoft. And so Dave is next to me. And Dave is also an avid video gamer, and his favorite game is?
A World of Warcraft. It's awesome.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so if you're a World of Warcraft person, will you stand up?
Rogue,
Come on,
damage
we're
over
gonna
time.
move.
Yes. All right.
How many people are standing? Oh, I only have 2 of you? Okay, so we don't hold up our hands here in our panel. We stand up and sit down, stand up because the body needs that
I think who stood up was actually people from Striiv.
Dave also loves the human brain. Why do you love the human brain?
It's interesting. It's like it started at a young age trying to get my dad to buy me skateboards when he didn't want to, and just looking throughout, from 7th grade all the way to now, actually looking at human behavior, how that models, and with all this new kind of fMRI stuff, looking at the brain chemistry and how that actually loops back into actually changing behavior, because I think, that's the heart of everything. Whether you're making games on Facebook, iPhone, or getting people off the couch is the key.
And you have some kids.
I do. Twin boys and daughter, 4 months old. So, kind of like Jef, when I joined Striiv, I lost about 10 pounds, and the big change in my life is I actually haven't gone to the gym since I started the company. It's just all walk-in throughout the day, so it's pretty cool.
Okay, so we're not going to, you're moving.
I'm moving a lot, but just, kind of like practicing what you preach, I guess.
Yeah, we got to walk our talk. That's who we are. So Evo has a very long bio, so start reading so you can know about him. And Evo loves Croatia, and he loves distilling, I think, hard liquor, don't you?
We just say spirits.
Spirits. Yeah. And what else about Croatia do you love?
Yeah, it's a family tradition, so there's a lot of things that happen around that kind of stuff. Croatia is just a great country of heartwarming people, and seashore, villages, vineyards, mountains. There's just a lot there.
Yeah. And you play a little soccer?
I do.
A little or a lot?
Less now than I used to. My knees don't do as well as they used to do.
And how many years ago did you start wearing BodyMedia, wearing sensors, and how many years ago was that?
I've been working on sensors and wearable technology for the last 20 years.
So you're a pioneer too, right? Was anybody else
say that
doing
qualifies.
this 20 years ago?
Sorry?
Was anyone else doing it 20 years ago?
Well, I mean, you got people like Polar who are here at CES, and some other people have been doing stuff, but in the multi-sensor kind of things and stuff with not so much wires, that was pretty new at the time.
Yeah, we were originally all hardwired to those heart rate monitors that I love. Okay, so here's the format. We're going to have each of our panel members talk and explain a little bit about their technology and how it works and why it's exciting. And then we're going to ask for a lot of questions, so be prepared for that. And we're going to start with Jef, and I'm going to pass Jef. Stand up, Jef. That's good. You don't have to sit in this chair. You can walk around. You can sit down. You can do whatever you want.
All right, I'll walk around.
Good.
I don't know how many of you know anything about BASIS. I'm going to try to explain it to you very briefly here. We say it's a smart way to the better you. It's about wearable sensors, which I think we're going to talk a little bit about today, and then it's about figuring out how do you make wearable sensors something that a consumer would actually buy and use and understand. In our case, it's a combination of this device, which you wear on your wrist like a watch. Of course, it tells the time, but packed inside of there are 5 different sensors measuring things about your body and how your body is responding to activities throughout your whole day. So it's not really about the moment of fitness. As I like to say, it's not really about just measuring your sports performance. It's about measuring holistically your whole day and how your body is responding to that. We then connect that to a cloud service. It's a way of analyzing all of that data using powerful servers and then rendering it back in language that regular folks will understand, right? So how many calories are you burning? How many steps are you walking? How much sleep are you getting? Those kinds of things. So the sensors that are packed into this thing, as I mentioned, we'll start with the obvious one, perhaps. It's common in this space. It's accelerometers. Those are sensors that are used to measure motion, used to measure activity. Next is something called galvanic skin response, and this can be used for a number of things. In our case, we use it to measure sweat, which helps us gauge the intensity of those activities that you're hopefully engaged in. And then next is temperature. We measure 2 types of temperature. One is ambient temperature, and the other is skin temperature, so we can tell that your body is warming up because you're in a warm room versus your body is warming up because you're starting to get engaged in activities. And then lastly, and really the big breakthrough for us, is the ability to measure heart rate continuously throughout that day that we've been talking about without wearing a chest strap or other gear. We're using an optical approach to measure heart rate. It's built into here. Essentially, we're shining light into your skin so that we can see the blood flowing through your capillaries, measuring the reflection of that back, and that gets us to heart rate. So we combine all of those sensor data points together to try to get a complete picture of those activities and how your body is responding to them. And this is important to understand that it's not just about measuring the activities. We all respond to the same activities in different ways, so what we're trying to do is really understand what those activities mean to you and your body. So the product experience, very simple. I'll go through this quickly. Your job is just to wear the device. It does everything for you automatically. It tracks everything for you automatically. You're not logging anything. So just wear the device. It'll connect to the cloud service. You'll sync it. Syncs in a couple of different ways, but the important thing is get the data up to the cloud where we can start processing it. We do that and then try to tell you some interesting things. We give you some metrics. We automatically classify events in your day and try to highlight the things that you're doing that are good for you. We have a little bit of a game mechanic here to get points for doing the things that are good for you. And then lastly, to the extent that you want to, you can share. Some people will not want to share at all. Some people are very motivated by their social network and the positive feedback they get from their friends and their family, so we want to enable that as well. So that is BASIS.
That is BASIS. And I watched you taking pictures. If you would like a copy of this slide deck, I'm going to give you my email address, and I'll email it to you. And you can still take pictures, but it might be a better way. Mike is hot.
So you have to get up,
walk
around, right?
You don't have to, but you know.
I'm the exception. Since joining the Bluetooth SIG, I put on weight rather than lost weight. But I don't know. We run a health challenge every year for the employees and try to get everyone up and moving. But sometimes it doesn't work for everyone in the organization. But start off with just what the Bluetooth SIG is. We're an industry organization, over 15,000 members. We're a nonprofit, so we don't make any of the products with Bluetooth. We publish the specs. We run a certification program. It's our members that make the products that consumers buy. And I think it's interesting when you walk the show floor down there, you see Bluetooth all over the place. It's in all sorts of different products, and it really, I think, drives home the fact that it's not about the technology or what what that is. It's what you can do with the technology and the products and scenarios that you can enable with it. And we're seeing a huge move and momentum with Bluetooth into the health and fitness space now. And that is because we've worked very hard to lay the foundation within the Bluetooth SIG over the last 12, 18 months or so to optimize Bluetooth in our version 4 specification, 4 sensors, 4 heart rate meters, things like that. And now you're starting to see those products come and hit the market, and I think you're going to continue to see many, many more of those, throughout next year. And the one thing why Bluetooth is a very good solution for it, not just the technical reasons, but also the slide is actually wrong. We got a number from ABI Research at the end of the year that over 7 billion, with a B, billion products have shipped with Bluetooth wireless technology. So it makes it very appealing for a company to create the watch, the pedometer, the heart rate sensor, whatever, with Bluetooth, because you can connect it to those other products, whether it's your mobile phone, the tablet, the TV, whatever, to allow the consumer to look at their information and collect their information in many different ways, the ways that they seem fit. And we've kind of seen an evolution of the couch potato that we're talking about here. It was first kind of passive video games. You sat and you interacted with it. And then you started seeing more active ones with the Wii or Sony Move or the Kinect, whatever. And then that hopefully motivates people to maybe take that to the track or out and exercising. And what I found amazing about what technology has kind of added to this picture, for me at least anyway, is I told you we do the health challenge for employees of the Bluetooth SIG every year, and we gave everyone in the company a pedometer to wear, and that was part of the contest, because in the SIG, to do anything, it has to be a contest, and you have to have winners and prizes and the like. But just the awareness of how many steps, or in my particular case, how many steps I wasn't taking, really changed my behavior. And I could see before I started this, it wasn't uncommon for me on a busy day to have less than 2,000 steps. And anyone in the fitness area knows, that's like a slug. You're not doing anything. And so seeing that made a conscious effort with now, there's rarely a day where I don't do at least 5,000. And of course, that's not a huge number of steps, but it's a lot better. And now, I have this new Motorola watch where I can just look and see, okay, today I've taken over 8,000 steps so far, and I can track it immediately throughout the day. So just the awareness that technology can bring to the consumer, I really think changes behavior. And that's one of the things that the Bluetooth technology and the products being built on it is bringing to the table. So with that, I'll pass it off.
So, Mike, how many steps would you optimally like to have?
10,000.
10,000, that's the magic number.
I'm in that 80% that knows all this stuff, but it,
know
doesn't always execute it.
Okay, so Dave is going to talk to us about a really fun new device.
Cool. So it's Striiv, and so yeah, I think as Sally was saying, the 10-80-10 was really a spark of inspiration for Striiv. A lot of the guys at the company, a lot of the team members, we come from the gaming space, and so we did Facebook games, iPhone games. We got over 30 million users in our last company. They were clicking buttons like hamsters, collecting rent, doing all these game things that, 1 billion times a week. And so during that company, I actually had twin boys. So as a father, I started thinking, when they grow up and they look at, what dad did, how is that contributing to society? And I think we are at this really exciting intersection where, for the first time, you have the cloud, you have wearable sensing technologies, you have this tracking ability, and also because of the social networks and the computing power that is available to us, you can actually create an experience layer that really can start doing all that really awesome behavior modification. And so that's Striiv. It's really looking at how do you create kind of a personal trainer in your pocket, right? A personal trainer does really two things. One is for motivation, and the other one is results. And that's really what Striiv's doing. As Sally said, that 60-minute magic number, when we met with the head of preventive care at the early days of the company, a guy at Kaiser, he was saying, if you can just get the average American just walk 30 minutes a day across the board, that would revolutionize healthcare in America. And with Striiv, our users on average are walking 60 minutes a day. So we're almost doubling the national average, which is absolutely incredible because it is about getting those couch potatoes, having the little spuds come out, and little roots start walking. It's really, really incredible to see that. So when we talk about motivation, it's really saying going from a layer of monitoring where you have analytics, you have sensor data, signals, and how do you create an experience layer on top that really actually creates that big impetus to change behavior. And our first product, where you have kind of 3 axes, right? We got charts and graphs and personal goals and all that kind of stuff for the kind of type A's. And then for that big old 80%, we got something else. Because if you can make fitness not like something you should do, like, oh, I know I should be working out. I mean, no one 80% of us don't like to work out. We love sitting on the couch watching Battlestar Galactica. But for the first time, we started with the walkathon in your pocket. And the reason why that's super cool is that for the first time you're walking, not just because it's good for you, but because you're helping families on the other side of the world. And that's at no cost to the customers. And then also, we have a bunch of games and challenges. So it's kind of like Farmville, but instead of using time as the primary mechanic, where you got to plant a seed, kind of wait 8 hours and come back, it's all about walking, taking the stairs. And so really, I think like from Striiv's point of view, we think the fundamental premise is the cadence of interaction. If you have little nudges throughout the day, that's how you truly change behavior. And I think we're the only product that has like the kind of, well, I guess not really, but only kind of fun, whatever. We have a big color touchscreen. And in that little color touchscreen, we got a lot of cool stuff that is kind of adapting to the user. And that's really where we're getting that lift. So yeah, we're, I guess a couple things out of the box. But I mean, a lot of stuff. All the standard monitoring stuff, but really looking at gaming, looking at social, looking at fun, and families. And I think the reason why this is so exciting is that in America, your fitness and your health is so tied to your personal self-esteem and your identity, right? We've talked to thousands of people and so many customers who say like, they haven't gone on the couch, they just always thought they were just this, you guys, lost cause. And when you can actually spark that change and you can say, you know what, just like going from 2,000 to 5,000, and then going from 7,000 to 8,000, having all this cool stuff, making donations, it can transform people's lives. And that's why I quit my job and started Striiv. Thanks.
Okay, before you sit down, and I have you here, so show them this.
Oh.
Tell them how easy it is to use, because ease.
I got this one over here. This is my personal one I'm carrying.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, so basically, it's kind of cool, right? Because you got this little gadget, and it's got a color touchscreen, and everything's in here. We got a 500 megahertz dual core, ARM11, doing crazy processing, graphics engine, not fancy stuff. But at the end of the day, the user sees very cool things. You can see your step count, how many stairs you climb. We have an altimeter in there. You can see your distance. But everything's personalized to you. It's like, hey, Dave, I know your personal best is this. I know you did this yesterday. Why don't you actually beat your goal from yesterday? Why don't you do better? And then the thing we're announcing at CES is we got a little wireless radio in here. So all the Striivs talk to each other wirelessly. It's kind of cool. It's got this mesh network thing going. But now I can send over my personal best to my wife, and she can beat me. We can make bets. We can bet energy, Striiv currency. It's just really, really cool. And so I think by having this kind of rich experience, that's where you get that engagement. And in the social gaming space, it's about engagement, but the more important question is retention, right? If you're doing like Farmville or whatever, like our games, the minute users stop coming back to your game, you stop making money and all revenue dies. Well, it's kind of the same thing with this. Like there's so many products where people buy it and they just put it on the shelf after a week. And so one core piece of analytics we look at is retention. And that's where the fresh content can keep being plugged in, and that experience can keep driving that. So, yeah. And also, keychain, pretty cool. Pops right off. Thank you. Keychain, remember that.
Okay, so here we're going to talk about, you're wearing one, they come, the BodyMedia. Give us a, we love BodyMedia.
Thank you, though. Thanks for that, Sally. So Sally asked me, it's a CS, so you talk about products. So she said, we usually don't talk about our products so much. We talk about the users, but it's CS, so start with the product shots. So just to give you a little overview of our portfolio, we have a line of products actually that are monitors for individuals. Last year we launched Bluetooth. We got Best of Show through Bluetooth SIG last year here. We're one of the first products to actually connect up to smartphones in the body monitoring space. Then just this last fall, we announced a sleeker, smaller version that actually is on my arm right now. Plug in USB, goes right up to the cloud services and so forth. Multi-sensor, we've been multi-sensor since day one, and we're also bringing out ECG into the platform. So lots that you can do. Jef did a great job talking about how that accuracy could be really beneficial when you're looking at more than one parameter. Last year, we announced a partnership with Sprint. Now, walking around the CES floors, there's actually units out there that have an embedded modem in there, cellular modem, with location awareness plus the multi-sensor. So you don't have to plug in anything. You don't have to wait to come up to your laptop and plug something in. It's just always every hour going to the cloud, and you can see that information. This also opens up the opportunities beyond even weight loss. You can get into elder care and a whole bunch of other opportunities with this platform, because I know my mom and my grandmother don't understand some of the connectivity out there with technology. And then the thing that we're really excited about was an announcement just 4 days ago, which was a partnership we have with Avery Dennison, where our users always tell us they love the data once they finally decided to commit, but actually thinking about spending the dollars and taking 6 months of commitment that I'm going to really lose weight and buy that product, it's a little bit challenging or daunting for some people. So we wanted to give you a taste. So we have a disposable product as a patch. Wear it just like this. You can wear it discreetly or you can expose it. And it's going to be a really low-cost trial mechanism for people to try out what it feels like to have body monitoring in their life and see that dashboard, see their own BodyMedia in front of them. So that's going to be coming out before the end of the year, and we're really excited by that. But like I said, the main reason that we do this is for people like Marge. So Marge really hadn't seen a gym in a long time, and she was just, sorry, let me go back here. She was just in People magazine. She's half her size, and she did it with the feedback of the information. So we're really excited about Marge. We focus on Marge every day. We have lots of personas in the office. She happens to be one of the latest ones. And what happens then is that you start to see more and more of this happening where products like ours can really affect people's lives. They talk about it to people. They rave about it. They just love it. And it's the best reason why we all get up in the morning is for these kind of purposes. One of the things about us, we are an FDA registered product. We're a medical device. Outcomes are really important to our consumers so that they actually can lose weight. So we've got outcomes out there that have been clinically proven. One study was done in South Carolina with Dr. Stephen Blair, former president of Cooper Institute. We also have another study down at the University of Pittsburgh with Dr. John Jakasik, showing that when you have technology, just technology alone can actually take the effort and the self-care opportunity, accelerate it, increase your results, increase even the compliance ratio of the program, and we're really excited by that because this is what really drives people to stay with the programs is that you can actually present results. And it also helps us get into corporate wellness, condition management, stuff like that. But you can't just do it by yourself. It's important that you actually have a whole band of brothers, so to speak, or friends and sisters to help out. So what we've done is we've actually partnered over the years with a lot of different players, and so that we can get to Marge, and Marge can find us. But also so we can bring to Marge the technologies that will actually make it easier in her life to have these technologies. So we have a nice set of partnerships from the technology side, from the distribution side, marketing perspective. We just launched Jillian Michaels' 360 Weight Loss Navigator, which was announced right at the beginning of the year. She was here on Tuesday talking more about it. So we're really excited about that kind of program and others that are up here. Good?
Thanks, Ivo. I appreciate that. That was really good. So now we have these really cool devices and these really cool tools, and we're going to ask you to ask the panel some questions. And I call it the 3 M's. We can monitor things. Yeah, we have these body, we're mobile, we can monitor. We can measure things. But really what we're trying to do is manage. That's the ultimate. How can we manage our health and our fitness using tools and devices to get us to do the 60-minute rule so that those 10% of us that love these automatically because I want to know things, and there are 80% that know they need to get healthy. And there are 10% who say, Sally, no matter what I want to do, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do your exercise. So I give up on those 10%, and today I want to talk about the 80%. How do we get America and the world fit? So you've got the experts here. I'm going to ask you, there's a microphone. If you would stand up, walk over to that microphone, and direct your questions to the panel, please.
I think so.
We can hear you.
I'll just speak up. My name is Rick Gibbs. I have a question on the Striiv product.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. You mentioned something about helping to feed families on the other side of the world. I'm intrigued by that concept, and where did you come up with that idea? Can you talk about that a little bit and how that fits into the whole motivation process?
Absolutely. So basically, before I started Striiv, I was a VP marketing at Booyah, and we were at this. Kleiner Perkins was our VC, and we were incubated right next to a company called Shopkick. So the CEO, Stivoric Roding, sat right next to us. We were always chatting about stuff, and he's an advisor on Striiv. And so what Shopkick's done is this really cool. You check in. They have a location. Now, you check in, and you make donations. So just by checking in, sponsors donate on your behalf. And he was going, Dave, I get a lot of check-ins from this donation, and it's really transformative because it's such a feel-good thing. And his demographic, women in their 40s, was kind of like our demographic, women in their 40s. And so when we kind of thought about it, we're like, wow, a walkathon in your pocket, that's really, really cool. And so my wife loved the idea. And we kind of like, so in terms of that, Global Giving is a great company because Striiv's not a charitable organization, but we want to partner with best in class where they can audit the whatever efficiencies, the efficacies of the different things. And together and other corporate sponsors, that's just a great opportunity to just get people off the couch and feel good.
Hi, I'm Constance. Your products are very rewarding for those who are interested in taking their health and their lives into their own hands. And we know that worldwide, obesity rates are high, and in most populations, it's usually among the lower socioeconomic groups who may not be able to afford some of the devices that you guys have presented. How do you challenge yourself to reach to that population so that they can be a part of this revolution or evolution in technology? Thank you.
Would one of you like to?
I can take it.
You can start, sure.
All right, so I know China decently well because I spent a lot of time there. And what's interesting is that it's actually a little bit inverse. Like obesity it seems like it's highly correlated to Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's. And so as the overall economic situation in China has continued to improve for this emerging middle class, this aspirational goal to live an American lifestyle and get that Big Mac and do the McDonald's thing, it's exploding. And so we were talking to some folks in China, they're saying the childhood obesity rates are now increased like 300% in the last 8 years. It's insane. And now they have, literally camps that, because again, China's about the one-child policy. So bottom line is, can't speak about the rest of the world very intelligently. With China, reaching them, I think, is going to be interesting because you have this market that's enormous, that the middle class is exploding, and that you see just this direct correlation to fast food and this lifestyle that we're exporting across the world, and following that and trying to, help is going to be one of the key strategies of Striiv moving forward.
And one of the things we're really working hard as an industry and as a category to really reduce the price of these products. I mean, when we first started 12 years ago, we had a clinical product that was $900. Today, you can buy our product for $150 on the internet or at the store. And you couldn't find them in the store, on the internet, or where you work even. So that's one of the reasons why the patch came out, and then we're pushing that forward because we want to get it out to the masses and get some better opportunities for it. As we start to look at those kind of manufacturing methods and development methods, we think that there's a high correlation to be able to bring something that could get to more, depending on what terms you want to use, disparate or opportunities in the economic sectors that you want to touch.
Well, I'll just add a couple of quick things. It's clear that this category, and this CES is maybe the best example of it, this category is just exploding just now. So I think I agree that as the category grows and the volumes increase, price points, as in every other category, will continue to come down and become more affordable, even more mainstream. But I think the other thing that is interesting is we're starting to see a lot of interest now in the organizations that have a lot to gain from improving people's health and therefore lowering their health costs are getting interested in sponsoring these kinds of devices for people. So you will see over the next couple of years, I think, a lot of evolution in this, in which you are getting a device or an experience like this through your healthcare provider or through your employer or through a corporate wellness program provider to your employer, rather than simply buying it as an individual interested in managing their own health.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go with it. We know that, healthy, staying fit, prevention is way cheaper than the cure. And so I think, once that business model gets flushed out and put in place, you will see employers, insurance companies, et cetera, sponsoring a lot of these.
But I do want to just clarify, I mean, people do pay for this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've been self-pay all these years, and it's amazing, during the recession that we were trying to get out of still, we had our best years ever. People started looking at themselves and doing things for themselves and using their pocketbooks to do so on our side of this equation. So we weren't suffering. We were actually growing during these last couple of years.
It's a great question, though. Next.
Yeah, great question. So I'm interested in the BodyMedia Avery Dennison partnership in that the diagnostics that are being done, and what are they? What was the mandate behind that? It sounds like you guys obviously are expanding outside your not your comfort zone. It sounds like you're actually expanding into where you need to be. But I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
Thanks. So it's a multi-sensor opportunity. It is for a lifestyle snapshot at first. And a lot of people see us as calorie counter on the arm sometimes. But this platform, when you have continuous data on someone's lifestyle, 24/7, 7 days, 3 months, etc., there's a lot you can understand about an individual. And they can, even lifestyle can be it's evidential that it can be diagnostic too, right? Even my grandmother, if she's staying in bed longer every day and she's moving around less and less, it's probably symptomatic of something else going on, even before the blood pressure monitor or the blood work comes back. So we see it as an opportunity where we can actually expand the product line and the offering to much broader field than we can even handle ourselves. So Avery Dentist is the first piece of that, and we'll be doing that with more and more partnerships across the product line that we have, but in particular that line.
And is it a direct-to-consumer product? Is it something that is that how you see it?
Well, so on our side of the equation, we'll launch it first in health clubs, weight loss clinics, and corporate wellness.
Okay.
And then we'll start the direct-to-consumer route after that. But right now, there's so much demand just in those 3 categories that we'll be inundated for a while in that.
So does the industry market potential warrant a standardized specification or a more proprietary approach for the user to ultimately get what they need?
Do you have that directed to somebody, or?
Probably Mike's the best person to address that, I would guess.
He's the smartest one on
Well,
the stage.
I definitely have opinions on that, but I think maybe the people that make the products or their opinion might be more valuable.
No, go ahead,
But
Mike.
I think that standards help when you want interoperability. And a lot of these products now, they're collecting data, and you want to consume it on all different devices, all different screens, and push it to the cloud. And the standard allows you to do that with any of these person's products through whatever smartphone people have, the TV next year, things like that. So I think that's what the standard brings to the table, and that, I think, is going to help the market.
Cool, thanks.
I totally agree. I think when you talk about sharing data, you can do it between the little gadgets, or you can do it in the cloud. And there's benefits or advantages and disadvantages for each. I do think at the end of the day, kind of like this whole Apple, Microsoft or whatever. I mean, you have classic vertical integrated walled garden architectures versus open horizontal integration. And depending on what I think it's going to be the experience that wins. So if the experience for the end user is absolutely fantastic as a walled garden, whatever that walled garden is going to do is going to start to dominate. If not, I think a much more open ecosystem will start to evolve.
We're really excited about it. We've been proprietary for years because there was nothing low power, and there's really something to communicate to an ecosystem. So we have to build our own ecosystem. Now we're actually partnering with people because we have these standards that we can adopt and move into, and there's low power now. So we're really excited by that.
Yeah, I think there are obviously standards make a ton of sense when you want interoperability, and of course we do the consumer benefits from that. I think there's standards around sort of the transfer of information and how the device connects to other things, and then there's standards around the format of information and how we share data amongst ourselves. If my data can help another app become more useful to the user of that app, then that's long-term the kind of experience that we want to engage. We do a lot of, as we all do, we do a lot of proprietary work on the data that we get and make our own insights out of it, but there needs to be a way through APIs and other things that we can share that data with partners in the industry. And that's when 1 + 1 = 3, right? Then you get a lot more value out of that data.
Yeah, and as a triathlete, I've known for years, I mean, I use this company's that doesn't talk to this company's this, then I want a power meter that won't talk to anything on my bike. And so it's nice if we could have standards. Question?
Yeah, my name's Joe Olson. I'm an engineer with Honeywell Corporation, currently living and working in Cairo, Egypt. And for those of you who don't know, Cairo is a city of 19 million people, of which approximately half the adult population has a type 2 diabetes problem. Wow. So you can imagine the healthcare things they have coming. Before I address the panel, Dave, real quick, I spent a half hour yesterday trying to find your booth. Could you please tell us where you're located? Because
yeah, absolutely. So we're a startup. We have like 25 people all in. So we did a big decision going manning the booth versus having the meetings. So we're actually in Hilton 1860. I'm Dave@Striiv.com. Send me an email. Love to meet up.
Okay, very good. The question I'm addressing the panel is, those of us as we get older, we can't do marathons and things like that anymore. So what we're doing is a little more low impact things, swimming, things like that. And do any of your current people, either currently with your current devices or in future devices, are looking to measuring the fact that, hey, I'm doing exercise, but I'm swimming. And that exercise and your algorithms are very different. Me swimming at 2.5 miles an hour versus walking at 2.5 miles an hour are totally different situations. So can you guys address either what you're doing now or what you're projecting for these devices to be able to work in the water?
I love to swim. Great question.
We fully anticipate, I know, not just to speak from BodyMedia's perspective, we're working hard to make products waterproof. The first one is actually going to be that patch, and we'll continue to go further. We are working with partners right now to bring swimming into the opportunity, because like in our situation, you know, a lot of our people aren't just trying to lose 5 pounds, and getting into activity, sometimes the easiest way is something lower impact.
Yeah.
So we've been really focused on trying to get something to market that can help or add to, and it's a software upgrade. It's not a new product necessarily. And when we actually do that, one of the biggest issues about it is how do you actually measure what the real answer is when someone is in the pool? You can't be flying down the pool with a big tube and over to a VO2 machine and try to get metabolic rate from that individual. So there's other things you have to do, and so it's a little bit for us. You know, we're an FDA, you know, a medical device. We take our validation seriously, and so we're just working out the methods as we go forward to make sure that when we do provide the algorithm, our users demand accuracy, and so we're trying to just do it the best way first, so that we can release it in a commercial way.
Thank you.
I think the only thing that I'd like to add is to raise the answer up just a level. I think Eva did a great job of explaining how difficult, and not just swimming, figuring out what meaning to make out of all of these activities is just a difficult thing. But I think the most important thing from our take, and I think many of our takes on this, is being active is the answer. Even those of us who aren't using age as the reason that we're not running, lots of us aren't running, or some of us don't want to run or be a dedicated cyclist or be interested in sort of performance as an athlete. The important thing is to be active. Walking the dog is active enough, as long as you do it enough and do it consistently. So the important thing is whatever level of activity that you can manage, doing it consistently and seeing the benefit from that, both the positive rewards of systems like ours and of course, hopefully how you feel about it.
That's the message from our panel, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the 3 hours a week in the gym.
Right.
If that at all.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Ed Bosey, VP Innovation of Xerox. I have a think tank of about a handful of Fortune 500 companies who've asked that we do some research in gaming as its efficacy in driving positive behavior and really doing some analytics around which game mechanics are actually more effective. One of the ones I'm in particularly interested in is social influence. And so I was interested in your input on that. Particularly, my idea would be enlisting the family. So really, I'm thinking about having one of your type devices, give it to the members of the think tank, and then later, you know, a few months later, give it to their children and enlist them in a competition. And really, I'm thinking about this family-to-family type of competition. What you think about the effects of social influence within the family, and perhaps competing on teams between families.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're the gaming expert, Dave.
So yeah, I mean, like gaming and you know, compulsion loops and all these stuff it's super interesting. And I think like because we can bring so much data back in the cloud, we can do a lot of like, you know, I think causality teardowns. You know, the big bet that Striiv's made for this year is what I call a family or friends and family take on social. Because one theory is I can post to Facebook and kind of see my high school buddy said, hey, I did this thing. That's kind of cool. But if you really want to move the dial in behavior, there's nothing quite as motivating as like the loser has to do the dishes if, you know, you and your wife are competing. And that's literally the kind of personal area network technologies that we're launching nationwide in April. And so there'll be a ton, there's like so many interesting, you know, like I said, that fascination with the brain and how you actually change behavior. But we do think social, specifically family social, is going to be one of the biggest dial movers in terms of changing behavior, absolutely. And so we have a lot of theories. We're happy to share some of the analytics and white papers in months to come, and love to give it a test drive.
And even the office challenge that I mentioned that we did, it's been amazing the lifestyle changes that have affected some employees. This year, the person that won the challenge quit smoking, lost like 45 pounds, and is going to run a marathon at the end of the year. I mean, just amazing, you know, and this was worker challenges and rewards, and you know, you can do side challenges like that, you know, at the end of the week, the team that has the most steps and have a prize and things. So anything you can do, whether it's family, work, whatever, the challenge, the motivation, the little bit of competition amongst people works, at least
yeah,
from
so
everything
I want
I've
every
seen.
person out here to go back and say, you know, we're going to have the challenges, business challenges.
Yeah.
You can all just go back and
If you're not talking to them already, you might also talk to a company called Keas, K-E-A-S. They're applying gaming mechanics and gaming dynamics in corporate wellness, and we've had a number of interesting discussions with them. And one of the big ahas for me that I learned from them is, and this goes to one of the questions you asked at the beginning, Sally, is why, given the 80% of us who know we should be doing more, are we not doing more? And one of their big ahas was, in a corporate wellness setting, they've created teams that compete with each other, and they use devices and self-reporting to track activity levels. And what they have found is the individuals are not as motivated to do this for themselves, but if they're a part of a team and the team is relying on them, your social responsibility to your teammates is the pressure that gets them to perform at a level that they don't do just for their own benefit. And I think there's something very, very powerful in that. Now, for different kinds of personalities, there's the competitive nature that also can be quite motivating, but this responsibility to each other, there's something powerful in that.
Yep, 100% agree.
So I'm going to only be able to take one more question, and then I'm going to get some concluding remarks. So if one of you that's standing in line, thank you, is dying to get the question out, would you push the other person aside?
Oops, last man standing.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Gary DeAngelis from Philips Electronics, and body monitoring has been around for many, many years. It hasn't really gotten traction in the marketplace. I'd like to hear from the product companies represented on the panel why that is, and what is it that's really going to get the average person to want to engage in body monitoring? What are you going to do to increase the stickiness? Thank you.
So, Gary, that's a really good question because the adoption rates are really, really low for people taking the technology and exercise adherence continue to using it. So can the panel really say, well, how are we going to get it sticky? How are we going to keep people long-term using our tools and working out?
So I think there's two parts of the question. One is cracking open mainstream adoption, and I think it's a combination of a couple of things: price point, what the experience is, and is it really is it going to bring results? And so one thing about Striiv is, like, if you look at kind of this, Fitbit, they're also one of these early players, and like, I think as Jeff's saying, this is starting to hockey stick. We just went on Amazon, like, I think 6 weeks ago, and there's 4 million products in the sports and outdoors category, everything from GPS watches, like everything, like Zumba workout trainer. And like Striiv, like we started like number 1,700 or something, and like just over the weekend we're in the top 20 out of 4 million products. And so like, I think in terms of just the awareness and adoption, if you have the right price point, the right experience, the right whatever, I mean, you can actually start that. The other part on the retention side is, I think the big name of the game is continual content. Like my iPhone, like I never put it down, I never find it uninteresting because there's so much cool stuff to do on it, and content comes from either companies creating content for you or from social interactions of natural generation of content. And so from our side, we kind of look at those two elements. Yeah.
We had the same experience when we launched 2.5 years ago on Amazon.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 60,000 products in just in what you might consider the category. We went to that New Year's resolution season, we were top 5 health product that was bought during that time frame.
And there's one thing about buying them, and there's nothing. The other one is like using them.
Right. No, that's right. So I think the one thing is that there is a gap out there, because when we go into focus groups, we talk to users, they always identify they wish they had X, the stuff that we're talking about. They don't know where to find it or didn't know about it. So we're just working really hard to go where they work out, into their homes, working with partnerships, because we can't do it all ourselves, to get the idea out there even further, because it's really, it can be beneficial. Our users, they don't put the product down in 1 week. On average, it's weight loss, right? So a lot of people will stop after 2 weeks. On average, we're over 5 months, 6 months on our population base. These are hundreds of thousands of users in the database. So you can have retention even with something simple as a simple dashboard that BodyMedia has today, without all the extras that we can start to put into it. But you can find retention. There's motivated people out there. They get more motivated when they have the feedback, and I think that's the main thing.
So I'm going to have each of our panelists, I'm going to put how to contact them if you would like to further this conversation and dialogue, and then ask Jef if he'd like to summarize our panel.
Sure, and I think I'll start my summary with the last question that was asked. Obviously, part of this is how we think about the category, and consumers don't want body monitoring, right? That is a means to an end. What they want is an experience, a product, a tool that will get them the results that they're looking for. So I think part of that is us as an industry trying to figure out how to translate all the great science and data and all the interesting stuff that's behind our products into experiences that consumers are sort of used to, where there's analogies. I think gaming is a good one. We can clearly see that gaming is a successful category. So to the extent that we can sort of borrow the goodness there and apply it to something that produces the results they're looking for, I think that's the important thing. And lastly, I would say, just to reinforce, I think the perspective of the whole panel here, which is this is about trying to help people live better. It's not about maximizing exercise or sports performance. There is an important category there, and there's good products in it, and bless those folks. But this is about the 80% and figuring out the right psychologies and motivations to get them through. And particularly, I think what's important there is, these tend to be long-term problems to fix if you're trying to lose weight or get fit or get healthy. You don't tend to see results immediately. And in a culture that's all based on immediate gratification, you need some tools between the time that you start and the time that you actually physically start to see and feel those differences. You need something to motivate you through that. And I think that's what we as an industry have learned a lot about.
Dave.
Yeah, okay. Dave, all right. So basically, my closing comments is just such an honor and just so humbling and exciting to be in this industry at this intersection. These kind of opportunities come around once every decade or so, where consumer electronics, it used to be about entertainment, right? Entertain me, watch a movie, like new Xbox, and for the first time with consumer electronics, you can change health, you can change people's lives, and it's just so awesome. And I think that from Striiv's point of view, and so our point of view, it's just really a simple question. It's like when I play World of Warcraft, the average session time is like 4.5 hours, right? And nobody plays games because it's good for them. It's like horrible for you, and it's like but you do it. And I think it's really tapping into those fundamental behaviors and the motivations where if you can make just getting off the couch fun, you can make it meaningful, you can crack that code, that's how you get to that 80%, and that's what Striiv's about.
And Mike, thank you.
Yes. You can see that we're putting all the tools in place, and the geeks like me are giving you the widgets to build things, and it's been great to see how impressive the products you guys are building, but I hope you continue to make them more fun, more interesting, so that they are used and they're not just things that geeks like me throw on because they like to see the chart on their computer screen move over time.
You are a bit of a geek.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Well, let's be honest, we all are.
Yeah,
but that's not.
So I'd like to build on what the panel said. First of all, thanks CES. It's amazing the pouring out of support that they've been giving to the category. We've gotten a lot of excitement here. 2 years ago, there was 3 booths, I think, so it's great, so thank you for that. I think the main thing I would say is, we talk about behavior modification, and we talk about all the work it is, but these units, when I look into the future of this, these units, if they're on people's bodies for 24/7, or people are playing with the products and doing the gaming mechanics and understanding all these pieces over and over with retention, every day instead of one day, you have all this richness of their lifestyle and what they're doing. You can take that richness, and then you can not just help them with health, you can help them with other things that are going on in their life. So if you understood what the person was up to when the phone came up, or they were talking to someone on the phone and so forth, how the world may change around them. Because you talk about Google knowing how you search, we know what you do. So what's interesting is that can be an empowering opportunity at the CES level, beyond even the health opportunity. But we are here because we get up every day because we are helping people. Marge is getting better, and she doesn't have diabetes anymore, and it's great.
It's awesome.
Go Marge. That's how to get a hold of me, and I'm going to pass it off to you, Jill.
Well, I'm in the 80%, and I'm kind of pumped right now. So,
Yeah.
fantastic.